can refer to your map, and this is all sectioned out by letters. And this would be the B section, and which would be some of the oldest. Okay, so you know that in the B section, that's one of the oldest. This is the Rivers family. You can see the condition, but you can see and know that these people, that this family, the originals, was fairly well-to-do, and the oblique kind of structure. So this is what was expected for those people that were able to do it for their periods. And of course, they range from people who were born in 18. Here are the markings down for members of the family: 1836 to 1912, and same era, 1832 to 1911. So they came into the 19th century, and we can see how long they lasted. They really they earlier felt that this cemetery could last at least 500 years. That was the age. And we'll do the Lincoln Post because this is the only, at one point, some of the graves, this was a gated cemetery, so you know it had to be real small when it was first gated. But this is the Lincoln Post. This represents the Grand Army of the Republic. They have cut it down some since the last time I was here. But you see the conditions. This is original blacksmith wrought iron. This Civil War period here, right after the Civil War. And these are the two columns that they have, both of them have come down now. And I have pictures of the original when they were. So we say in the last, this damage, it has gotten even worse. It's accelerating now because it had a hairline. First you'll see a hairline on it. And that hairline traveled all the way around, and it's for this column over there, and that one came totally off the pedestal. So you would be making that notation on those different forms that I give you. Those would be you would describe it: wrought iron fence in enclosure. 2 marble pedestals representing the sons, and they were already chopped off at the top, representing their life, young men that died in the Civil War. This is really the epitome of beauty of cemetery art. It's all we have. It's the only one here, and it definitely needs attention. See, even the foundation is a bit. Now this came apart from this pole. See, that has broken totally off. See the cracking here. Now, I think the root or something has pushed it. It has moved. What we can see is it's based in here. And you would want to put a notation too. There's another hairline, and that's what happens. See the hairline that's going up the, see right on around. The hairline will travel right on around, and then that's going to go. Now we're talking about he was 22 years old. So you put your indication if it says, your form says, what are the inscriptions, you can still partially read it, that this one died at 22 years. And that one there was a class of, was it 1856?
Looks like
You can see
18.
there's some inscription in there that you would make notation of it. You should, you know, in your description. And this says S.W. Lincoln. Tells the and you see the difference in the material. This is another tone of marble. Again, the obelisk kind of structure. You would put that in the structure, that obelisk. It's all a symbol of a Victorian period. Okay, and this is what happens here. You know, these roots are all probably all the way out. And it's these kind of borders is a way of marking. This is Hovey. Both are here. So this is really takes a lot more work, even though. But you see, he still has the inscription. They're still hanging on. 1868. So this is the 18th period. So without being, they bordered off their plots this way. You can see how they originally bordered off. You see the mold on it, and this is why so much of this structure is going to need big, heavy equipment. That's got to be stabilized. So once that trips over, then, you know, so you will do an overview. When we walk away, you have an overview of what it all looks like, rather than individual, but the overview. So you would say that this whole scheme of this section here needs a lot of work. Now, I want to take you to where it kind of leads in writing. The last one, this is John Mercer Langston. Actually, we know there are no more relatives who are going to take care of this. I mean, the walls are going to do it. But basically, here's a good example. This family, for the most part, is gone because since died, he was the last one of the Grand Army of the Republic. But John Mercer Langston, all of these, most of these graves are Shanks and Kenpugh, they would be listed under ownership would be John Mercer Langston. And then we have John Wall. That's in two. Now, if you were making indication, you would see that we're getting ready to lose it. So we would have to document what the inscription is barely visible. So if we clean it, we could get more and save it. Now this is a monument by the government. This is the Shanks. He was part of the Grand Army of the Republic. So this is from the Civil War. So, you know, it has lasted. It has lasted. It just hasn't been taken care of. And you see all of the growth that come on the stone. But this looks how it eats away. But he died in Denver. But they brought his body back. So, and this is John Wall. That was with the 5th Regiment. This is another. Now the government the government is the reason why we have these stones. And he's fairly good about being able to read the inscription. And you know that's one was given by the government. Okay, now that's the B section. Take you where it really looks bad. Okay. Now, the other thing is that you'll notice, we'll go down to this one right here. Now we're in another section. So you would write on the thing, the part on it that says what section it is. This is the D section, and you would say, if you want to describe, there it's bordered by a road. But this is the thing I wanted to show, and is that when we start to look at the ages, we start to see that some of this is 1939, 1963, and this is an older one. But this urn, this urn here, that's a symbol of eternity. But the thing that is still intact. The urn is still there, although it is eroding. Now, there's some that are missing their urn, and you can tell because there was cradle there. But this one, you would say urn is still intact. You can still read pretty well, pretty good. 1871. So we're seeing, you know, it's starting to fade, but you can still make out some of the inscriptions. Okay. And so, this is the Hill family right in here, and you can see. So we go from 1847, they were born, 1914. And then you can see that later, here this goes from 1927 to 1996. So you start to see the difference. They're not big like this anymore. They're starting to get smaller, but still, they're above ground. They're a standing monument. 1960. Take the car and we'll take it on around. Pick up.